was watching Sam Harris yesterday on Dave Rubin's show. He had posted a 5-part interview with Sam. You come up. He was defending himself against the accusation that he has supported a first strike against a Muslim country with a bomb. And he says he didn't. He just brought up the fact that the concept of mutually assured destruction is rendered moot if one country's leadership is eager to die.
All right, you're gonna make me comment on it. Okay.
Bring it.
Okay.
Win.
So yeah, I don't find that, as I share with you guys, that's not an interesting comment. Of course, we don't want Muslim fundamentalists to have the bomb. Duh, right? But that doesn't excuse his comment at all. He wrote it. We didn't write it for him. He wrote it, talking about a nuclear first strike if necessary. And then he claimed that it was a hypothetical. It wasn't a hypothetical. No, I don't mean that it's not a hypothetical. It is. It's a hypothetical if necessary. No, there is no situation where, there's no ticking time bomb. We don't live in 24. You're not Jack Bauer, right? If you do a nuclear first strike, that means you obliterate hundreds of thousands of people, including children, grandmothers, everyone, innocent, guilty, it doesn't matter. It's a hideous thing, and it's not an interesting intellectual exercise, and you didn't write it by accident. You wrote it because you thought, maybe, right? And maybe why? They're so bad. The Muslims are so bad. Maybe. We got to think about it. They're so dangerous.
But look, we got to go to the nuclear strike because, again, it affects all other issues. So now, you did not say we should do a nuclear strike on anybody, right?
If need be, according to Sam Harris's book, I'm just hypotheticals. I'm just posing. What if we did a nuclear first strike on them? I mean, after all, they are Muslims.
Now, you did not say we should do a nuclear strike on anybody, right? But you said we should, correct me where I'm wrong, we should consider doing a nuclear strike, a first nuclear strike, under certain circumstances. I find that to be incredibly dangerous talk.
Okay, but it is a dangerous fact of the world that we have nuclear arms, right? We have nuclear arms because we have already considered doing a nuclear strike under certain circumstances. That is what the Cold War was about. Yes, so this is the world that we're in right now. If we could uninvent these weapons, that would be great, right? But we have a nuclear doctrine, and it developed entirely in a Cold War context, where we were faced with the Soviet Union that was, for all of the flaws and all the ideological quirks, this was not a death cult and did not have the basis of being a death cult. These were rational actors, and their hopes and fears and aspirations were constrained by terrestrial concerns. These were not people who could say, we love death more than you infidels love life, right? And again, this is just 2 paragraphs in the End of Faith, right? This is not me talking ad nauseum about nuclear policy. But in just a very kind of game theoretic way, I asked us to consider how a belief in martyrdom, a belief in paradise, just unties this convention of mutually assured destruction as a deterrence. The Cold War was possible because neither side wanted to really play a game of chicken. When you're playing a game of chicken with someone who wants to get to paradise, you're screwed. You're going to lose this game of chicken, right? So, and the moment you accept, and again, many people don't accept this for reasons I cannot fathom, but the moment you accept that certain people really do believe in paradise, really do want to die and to get there, right? Or they're hoping to be martyred. This is that death today would not be a bad thing for them. And then you imagine us failing to keep the big bombs and the long-range missiles out of their hands. You imagine a regime that is just like ISIS, but they've got ICBMs. We have to find some way to avoid that. And the Muslim world in particular has to find some way to avoid that. The Pakistanis that already have bombs, right? They don't have the missile technology, but they have the bombs. They're a coup away from delivering these bombs into the hands of the Pakistani Taliban. We have to find some way to avoid that.
Look, if you believe in a first strike and you think that he's not nuanced enough in that position, we already had that conversation, then maybe you could be as dangerous as Sarah Palin thinks.
It's not that I believe in a first strike. I believe that we are meandering into a circumstance where even with the best of intentions, good people could see no alternative but to commit a horrendous crime, as good people have done again and again in the history of war with the technology available. Good people committed horrendous crimes throughout World War II based on a pure perception of self-defense, right? And a logical one given what the enemy was doing to them. The bombing of London gave the British every reason to bomb Dresden, right? So it's not, again, what's so horrible and what we have to grapple with is that bad ideas and bad circumstances and bad incentives can allow for good people to behave like absolute monsters. That's much scarier than the few monsters in the world. It's much scarier than the 1% of psychopaths. To have ideas, to have systems, to have incentives where people who are better than you and me can be committed to atrocities. And so, again, a belief in paradise is one of the scarier memes to have running on the hard drive, because
Sam,
it changes the equation on so many fronts.
You did not say we should do a nuclear strike on anybody, right?
He wrote it. We didn't write it for him. He wrote it, talking about a nuclear first strike if necessary. And then he claimed it was a hypothetical. And you didn't write it by accident. You wrote it because you thought, maybe, right? And maybe why? They're so bad. The Muslims are so bad. Maybe. We got to think about it. They're so dangerous.